Buenos dias, Kevin, and thank you for joining us today at Business Spotlight Series. Today, I'm very excited to introduce Kevin Patrick Mcallister, Managing Director at KPM Contractors Limited. KPM Contractors are a small family business based in Lanarkshire. They are a roofing and building contractor with over 25 years of experience. Now, their passion and devotion is, are you ready for this? To help people preserve their homes. So welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. Thanks very much for having me.
So, Kevin, I'm very excited to know a little bit more about what you do and for how long you've been doing this.
So we do primarily, we're a roofing company. I started doing this when I was 14, as we've kind of discussed just before the recording started. So I've been doing it for 14 years now, and around about 3 years ago, 2020, I decided that I wanted to just kind of go myself and see where it would take me, and I started myself and one other guy, and like I said, we're up to 18 now, with hopefully another 4 coming in just after Christmas. So it's been good. It's not always been good, but it's been good. So it has. Yeah. But I'm sure any business owner will tell you there's goods and bads.
Yeah.
And I won't hide any of them.
Yeah. So 2020, you took the plunge and said, okay, let's do this, you know?
Yes, probably the wrong year to start a business. So I started the business. The idea kind of was 2019. I was actually working for my dad and my grandfather, running their company, and they're quite old school, so they were happy just to do jobs, get paid, and just continue the same cycle. Whereas, like, I've seen areas where you could market and get in and kind of be ahead of the curve, so to speak, and it was just set in stone. They were happy to do what they wanted to do, and I'm like, nah, sack this, I'm going myself, and just went for it. Like I said, it was 2019, the ideas kind of started, and then I spoke with Dom, who still works with me just now, about coming with me to work for me, and to be fair, the 2 weeks had me kind of really look back.
Brilliant. So, Kevin, who is the first person that comes to mind when you think about success?
If I'm being honest, my granda. It sounds like, talk about my granda Peter. He grew up with nothing. Like, in the summer, the spring, he would go and pick strawberries and go around the doors and sell strawberries. He used to say, and I don't mean this bad about this day and age, but he says back then men were men. So if there was a problem with the house, men fixed it. He says, whereas like now there's not so many people that are DIY enthusiasts. My granda still kind of says, you don't know how lucky you are to have the work that just kind of comes to us now, because years ago they had to go and chop doors, they had to pick strawberries to try and put bread on the table. But now my granda is kind of very comfortable in life, and he's always said a lazy man does not deserve bread, and it's just like something that just is in my mind all the time. It's freezing, I want to lie in, and then the wee voice, my granda, says a lazy man doesn't deserve bread. So then I get up out my bed. So I'm one of the people, when my alarm goes off, I'm straight out of bed. I don't lie on the phone, I don't sit on the phone, I'm up and get on with your day. And like I said, for success, my biggest role model is my granda. It always will be. And I could speak for a lot of my cousins who have got the same inspiration every day, wants to be my granda Peter, and I'm probably the same.
Interesting. My dad says something very similar to what your granddad said, so that resonates with me. You know.
Yeah, like, just doesn't like lazy people. He says, like I said, I think it's because how tough his upbringing was. He doesn't like it. He says our generation's a bit too soft now, in terms of we just expect all the time instead of having that drive to go and do it yourself.
Yeah. On that note, Kevin, what What is the one attribute you look for when you recruit?
See, if I'm being honest, you could. And this is me as a person. You could have the best CV in the world. See if I can't have a good conversation with you, or a good. I just don't think it's teamwork for me. You need to bond with the team. You can be the best person in the world, but if you're kind of up your own backside, then you're not going to work here. Yeah, unfortunately. For me, it's all about coming in, having like work. You need to enjoy your work. So if you're surrounded by people you don't like, it's going to reflect in your work. So for me, it's all about the team. It's all about, excuse my French here, but if one of my guys need to pick up dog shit with their bare hands, I'd do the same thing. And
Yeah.
that's like nobody's better than each other. Me being the
Yeah.
managing director, or down to Cammy, my newest apprentice.
Yeah.
What I would ask Cammy to do, I would do myself.
Yeah.
And there's no, and like I said, it's teamwork, togetherness. Like you
Mm.
need to be a team. If you don't want to be a team, then unfortunately there's no place here at KPM for you.
Yes. Yeah, that's very similar to the thing of attitude, having a great attitude.
Yep.
Because again, you can have you can be very skilled, but if you haven't got the great attitude, is not good, really. Yeah.
No. And especially in this game, like you're on roofs with people, like you're working beside people maybe for the next 20 years. So it's really important that you've got a good friendship. And
Mm.
well, for me, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, so it's got to fit in the team and
Yes.
the culture of the company.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's something that we do. So when we offer a new employee a job, we always do a 12-week trial process, not just for us, but for them. And then at the end of the 12 weeks, or coming up to the 12 weeks, we would then ask our guys on site, how did they fit in? Did you enjoy working with them? Stuff like that. And because, like I said, my guys that are in the books, it's important to keep them happy. At the end of the day, they are the life and soul of the company. Without them, the company doesn't exist. So you need to make sure your guys on site are as happy as the guys in the office, and then the guys in the office need to be as happy as me. So that's the way I look at it. It's no my company, it's our company. KPM's for everybody that works here.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, I love it. It's not my company, it's their company, it's KPM.
Yep.
Really. Yeah.
Yep.
Brilliant.
They're just getting all the stress and need to pay the most money, but it's their company.
Yes.
So
What are your aspirations for the business for say the next 5 years?
to continue to grow, this year's probably the last 6 months is where I've managed to actually be a managing director, in the sense, because for me KPM is always about, I don't want to say me, but when I started KPM, it was, I'm the guy who's going to be doing your jobs. You're not what I'm now. I'm like, for me, it was, I would sell the job to you, saying, I'll be the one on site, I'll be the one that does the job. But obviously, because we do good work, we get the more work comes in when you expand, and now we're kind of away from that. But for me, I want to kind of continue to grow the company, make sure all my employees are happy. First and foremost, I'm kind of employees at the forefront, because, like I said, if they're not happy, then the business can't grow. So it's doing like stupid things, like we do league tables for reviews, bonuses, golf days. We do everything like to try and keep everybody happy. But for me, for the next 6 months, continue to grow. Kind of, we're at a kind of halfway point for like, it's a hard one because we're still doing a lot of private work, but we've started going into like the kind of public sector, in terms of we're doing public contracts and social housing, and it's trying to weigh up what's best for the business. It is the social housing, like you've got 3 years worth of work there, or do we kind of private, but then I don't want to kind of put a ceiling on it, and I don't want to say we're going to do this, we're going to do that, because as I said in a LinkedIn post, you could plan all weekend to have a great start Monday morning, and at 1 minute past 8, your weeks, your planning's ruined. So it's hard. It's just kind of keep climbing the steps, whether it's a step at a time or 2 steps up, 1 step back. Just enjoy the ride, kind of. Just
Yeah.
I'm no serious. Like, I'm one of these guys. Like, I run a business. I run a successful business, but I'm just one of the. I try and see myself as one of the guys. Like, I'm not interested. Like, I'm not interested in maximizing profits. I'm maximizing fun. Come to work, enjoy it. If the money, if the company makes more money, it's fine. If it doesn't, as long as you're happy, do you know what I mean? Like, as long as the company's making enough where everybody's paid, and the lights in the company stay on, then we're kind of doing something right. So we'll just kind of enjoy it. Like I
Yeah.
said, you probably get more professional people and say, I want to do this, I want to do that. I could not care. I'll if I wake up tomorrow, we'll go for it. And that's generally the way I'm at.
Brilliant.
Nothing serious.
Yeah. And also, I dare say that if people are having fun in what they do, profits will be higher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they're enjoying it, the proficiency goes up. Like,
Yeah.
that, like I said, I've been in both sides. My granda, when I worked for my granda was harsh. He was like a hard boss. So you'd be like, oh no, there's Peter. Do you know what I mean? So you were already working, but then you would try and make it look as if you're working harder. Whereas I don't want to be the boss that when I turn up to site, guys are like, oh no, KP's here. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not me. My door's always open. Come speak to me. Like, one of the biggest things we do is we say it's a battery level on a Monday. I'll always ask my guys just to pop in. So it's a phone charger. It was actually a guy, I play football, but it was a mental health coach came to our football team, and I thought that's a really, really good thing that he does. And it's just a battery percentage. 0, 20%, under 20%, you want to talk to me. Like, it's something's on your mind. And like I said, it's all you do is put in how you're feeling. And then if it's 20%, I'll just come and have a conversation with you, make sure everyone's all right, make sure if there's anything I can do to help your situation, if you're 80%, 100%, it then kind of gauges me how to schedule my guys for that week as well. Because if my guys aren't feeling up to it, then I could turn around and say, right, do you want to work in the yard this week? And I can keep a close eye on you. I can not have you doing stressful jobs. Like, I can kind of manage mental health, because there's a stigma around it, but it's a serious thing you need to deal with. And it's something I deal with every Monday morning at 7:30. I ask for everybody to put in their phone batteries for me. And then that lets me gauge how I can schedule my guys, set them up for the week, and not put them someone that's maybe at 30%. I don't want to put them in a high stress workload for the week. And it's beneficial. I see I see it. Same again, the productivity kind of doesn't decrease because of that. So it's wee daft things. Like I said, I'm young, I'm learning, but that was one of the things from when the mental health coach came into our football club. He said that, and I'm like, I'm going to implement that in my business.
Yeah. Brilliant. Many businesses across industries are finding difficult to recruit. What are your thoughts on the current employment situation in Scotland?
Seeing construction, it's very, very difficult, because I feel not generational, but I feel like when I grew up as a kid, we were making like dens, so we would go and like make tree houses, or we'd go and build places. We would get our hands dirty, not be scared of that. Whereas I feel like now, like I see it more nieces and nephews, they're on Xboxes, they're on PlayStations, they're on iPads. They're not going out and, like, I used to go and catch frogs and fish with my bare hands. Like, I couldn't imagine my nephew or my niece going and doing that now. Whereas that was our childhood growing up, and I feel like you're starting to see that, because for 2 years I've tried to get an apprentice. I've interviewed apprentices. I've offered them. Same again. One of my LinkedIn posts was actually about a guy that worked for me for a year, asked for an apprenticeship, got the wheels rolling for it, and then says he doesn't want to do this anymore. He wants to go and do sales. And I feel like a lot of people have got this thing now where they want to be a content creator, they want to be a YouTuber, they want to sit in Starbucks on a laptop and work. Like nobody really wants to grow up and be a joiner. But what they don't realise is if you're good at what you do, that's a 40 or 60 grand a year job role. Do you know what I mean? Like we posted a content creator for £31,000 a year, and we got over 92 applicants for it. And I put on a roofing job for 42.5 grand a year, I believe it was. I get 6. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, and that's what I just feel like trying to get in the, like, it reflects in the cost as well, because one of the things that I've noticed is, see, when you're pricing as well now, like a lot, like the guys that I've got, like you've got the living wage employers, I still pay above the living wage. Because like I said as well, my guys don't work to survive. I want them to work to live. I want my guys to go to Florida for 2 weeks. I want my guys to go to Dubai. I don't want my guys working every week just to kind of keep the lights on and feed their family. So, like, we pay well, but then you're paying well, your costs increase, and then when I'm putting this onto my, like, trying to sell a new roof to you, you're like, well, you're £1,200 dearer than the next guy, and I'm like, but here's the reasons why. And what you're seeing now is like a lot of prices are increasing, and kind of I feel like the homeowners aren't really appreciating that. Like you're having to pay your men well to do it. Because like my biggest bugbearer is, and this is why like it's go back. This is why we're kind of moving into the public sector, because when you're pricing the private stuff, they're like, "Well, that's dear," and I'm like, "How do you know it's dear? Like how do you know? Like in your head, how do you know that's dear? So do you know my guys maybe get paid £150 a day? So if I've got, say, him and one guy, so if I'm paying 280 a day, and then I've got my overhead and stuff like that, we come a price at maybe £1,000. I'm maybe only making £120 at that, but it's all behind the scenes that you don't see, but you're telling me that's dear. So if you're a content creator and I say, you tell me you want £900 to do a video, and I say, no, you're too dear. Who am I? Who am I to tell you it's too dear? And that's one of the things where I think a lot of people are struggling. Like I would probably still class myself as a small business, but I feel like that's where a lot of small businesses are starting to shut down, because they're trying to stay competitive, but they're not getting the work because there's just some guy telling up doing it for 50 quid or 60 quid with no insurances, none of this, and it's harder for us, and that's how I had to make the decision to go from kind of continually to do the private stuff to actually move into the public sector, where you're kind of playing with the government's money. I'm not saying that you're kind of ripping the government off, but the people in that kind of industry, you've actually got more of a fighting chance going up against multi-million-pound companies as a small company, is opposed to going and fighting guys the same size as you, because everybody's just kind of undercutting themselves, and then there's no profit. Like there's no profit on the job, and what we're seeing from that is like I'll say this to everybody, and I'm kind of rambling, but if I price you £1,000 and somebody prices you £600, the reason why I'm £1,000 is I'll price that so that my company's making money, or we've got maybe overheads, but then if there is something that goes wrong, we give you a labour warranty. We'll come back and fix that, because we've charged you maybe an extra £100 to have money in the bank and safe and like not touched. Whereas the guy that's £400 cheaper than me, that's getting in his pocket. So that's why you hear the kind of cowboy stories where I'll get this guy to do this job, I paid him, and I've never heard from him since. I'm like, that's why. And that's how cheapest isn't always best. And you probably speak to a lot of people, maybe in the construction trade, that will tell you the same thing. Like they're struggling to get work because some guy in a white van's just underpricing it ridiculous.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so that's my rant on the construction.
No, you made a very good point there. So What are some of the biggest challenges you found in running a business in your industry?
The biggest challenge is cash flow. Now, I'm open and transparent. MD that knows me, I'll tell you that. When I left my dad and my granddad's company, I had roughly, and this is me being totally transparent, I had £60,000 sat in a bank account to start my own business. And within 6 months, I was living in and out of a £2,000 overdraft because you bought the van, you bought the tools, you got everything, and then you were trying to be nice to people and work and say, do the work, and then you didn't want to chase people for money because you just felt like, oh, they'll pay me, they'll pay me, they'll pay me. And then you were invoicing somebody and they were waiting 2 weeks to pay you. But then that 2 weeks, but you had thought you had profit, you then end up in a cycle where you're kind of getting paid money to then pay out that money, so you're never seeing your money. And it's like when you're like, I believe it's with everybody, like invoicing. Like the best thing that ever happened is invoice finance, because what we do is we get hit up with a percentage. It's like we've got good rates. It's like 0.85% we get took, but if we're doing a 100 grand job, we get up to 80 grand of that up front, which allows the business to just constantly move, and then at the end of it, you're maybe having to pay £1,000 or £2,000 for that job for the finance, but what you're doing is you're guaranteeing the money, and that's something we now take into our overheads is like with invoice finance rate going to be on this, because like I said, the amount of times we've done work and then people just feel like they can pay at your leisure.
Yes.
If we set out 30-day payment terms, we've accounted for £60,000 to go out the bank and £70,000 to come in the bank within the 30 days. So we've got the cash flow there. Then it comes to day 30, and then it's day 31, day 32, day 33, and you're like, you don't go to Asda or Aldi, buy your food and say, I'll pay you once I've ate it. Do you know what I mean? It's like you've got an invoice date, and like, we don't ask for payment straight away. Like their minimum payment terms are 5 days, or maximum of 45 days, depending on the client, the size of the invoice, stuff like that. But cash flow is the biggest thing. You need to, for anybody going to start a business, one, you need to have a cash flow and always make sure you pay back the float money. Something I would always say, if your business is £10,000, that's what you've got in a cash flow. If you've got 6 grand, you're in debt to your business at £4,000, and you need to stick to that so that you're never then dipping into your own money, which obviously I done. But it was a good thing for me because it lets you realise that it's no easy. You need to get up at 5:30 to make your business work. Like, look, probably only the last 3 weeks I'm managing to get off my laptop at 5 o'clock. 6 weeks ago, I was working for probably 6 o'clock in the morning to 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, making sure. But the biggest thing as well, when your business is growing, is learn to take a step back, and the people that you bring in, trust them to do what you're paying them to do as well. Like, don't try and micromanage everything, which I was terrible for. But I get the best of the best round about me, and I've managed to kind of take the steps back. And what I'm seeing now is, because I'm taking a step back, I can concentrate on business development. I can meet guys, I can meet people, I can learn their ideas, I can learn how they think, and be like, that's a really good idea. And like one of the girls I met, Carol, we're looking to go like expanding our company into renewables, and I met with her, and she showed me like different ways to approach stuff, like even through government funding, and I'm like, that's really good. But if I was still micromanaging, I wouldn't be in the position now where I've kind of been like that to Carol. No, we're happy to proceed, let's get the ball rolling. So come kind of March, we've got a renewables company that's going to be starting up, but that wouldn't have been able to kind of happen if I didn't take a backward step in my company and actually concentrate on company growth. Don't trust your contracts managers, trust your office manager, trust the people you need to trust. And don't micromanage. And like I said, since I've kind of done that, one, I'm maximising profits because I managed to meet with my sales guys. Like, like with my suppliers and say, use our 20 pence. And that, genuinely, like it could be 20 pence or 10 pence dearer, but over a vast quantity, it adds up. And like my dad, he now works alongside me, but he'll be like, you're not working, you're sitting in meetings all day. He
Yeah.
doesn't see that as work. He, like my dad, like I said, he's old school. My dad working's working. And then I'm like, but I've managed to turn that job into an £800 profit job to a £920 profit job. I mean, it all adds up. Is that all right? But my dad, like I said, he's just not a dinosaur, but
Yeah.
he's just kind of stuck in his ways.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the difference between working on the business and working in the business.
Yep.
Yeah. Brilliant. So, Kevin, what would you say to anyone thinking of going into business?
Do it. But you'll have ups, you'll have downs. The ups will always be better than the downs, obviously, but perseverance. If you're going to start your own business, excuse my French here, it's going to be shit. It's going to be stressful, but you need to persevere. Just like not a lot of people start a business and it just takes off. That's one in a million businesses. Like you need to work hard. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Like a lot of my friends go, "Aye, you can do whatever you want because you run your own company." I don't. I work longer. I'm more stressed. Like Dom, who I was talking about. So Dom's my brother-in-law, and he's thinking about going to sell. Now I won't say Dom's salary, but Dom gets paid very handsomely. And I says, Dom, I went in a 5 week month. I'll give you X amount. I went, but for that X amount, all I need you to do is look at your job sheet Monday to Saturday or Monday to Friday and do it. You've got no stress. At 7:30, you start. At 4 o'clock, you finish. You can go home. You can do what you want. You don't like, some of our guys get paid fortnightly. In 2 weeks' time, you're going to get your payment. You're not going to have to stress. I went, that's where you weigh up. Is it good to be employed or is it good to be self-employed? If you want to be self-employed, then you can't work from 7:30 to 4 o'clock. You work 10 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Like before I go to sleep, probably I'm like, you've got plan A, plan B, and plan C all in place in your head. But then it then becomes plan D, the plan that you've not thought about. It's about thinking on your feet because in an instant, everything can change. Like yesterday, one of my vans, I got 2 blowouts in one of the tyres, like on the motorway. So it's like, right, I'm now, like, I had meetings planned. I'm like, I need to cancel my meetings because I need to go and take a van, grab the material from the side of the motorway to get it on that job so my guys. So no matter what you plan, it's not going to go to plan. So
Yeah.
you need to learn to think on your feet. And that's probably probably the biggest, that and perseverance. You need to be able to think on your feet because it will change. Dynamics will change. One of the things about my business, which I'm quite happy about, is AI can't really ruin it. AI is starting to try and ruin a lot of stuff. So same again, somebody starting a business. How long is your business going to be basically marketable for before a computer or a robot or something like that can do it? I don't see, well, don't get me wrong, I could be proved wrong here, but you're still going to need this kind of work in 40 years' time. Houses are always going to constantly need to be upkept and stuff like that. So if you're starting a business, same again, it could be a good business for a year, but it's longevity, how and stuff like that. That's always stuff that like we took into. Like if somebody like I said, we're looking at starting the renewables, and I was doing a talk and they said, what's the best trade right now? If I could recommend a trade to get into, what would it be? It would be an electrician. Because the full world it needs to be net zero by 2045. Like, well, in the UK, they're aiming for net zero at 2045. If you're an electrician, houses are going to go to heat pumps, they're going to be solar, your cars are all going to be electric. So, like, stuff like that, like, don't just think you've got a good idea there now.
Yeah.
Weigh up the longevity of your idea and how can you make it last? How can it beat AI? And I know it sounds stupid, but that's the way the world's going, and that's the way my brain thinks. Like, I need to make sure robots can't do what I can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know it sounds stupid, but in
Yeah.
10 years'
No,
time,
yeah. Words of wisdom. So that's excellent, Kevin. Well, on that note, one final question from my side. Do you have any advice for your 18-year-old self?
18-year-old me, don't sign with the football club I signed with. Stay where I was. And see, being honest with you, no, like it's never a mistake and always a lesson. That's same again. It's another. If you don't make a mistake, how do you learn?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if I've been asked that before, if I could go back and do it all again, would I change anything? Probably not. I generally wouldn't. Like, I would probably say don't blow all my money in starting the business. But I'm the kind of person, if I've got an idea in my head, I'll make it work. And that's just like you say, it goes back to my granddad, just be driven. Like, so I probably wouldn't, because if I didn't make the mistakes I made, I probably wouldn't be sitting in the position I'm in now, 10 years later.
Yeah.
Like, so no, I wouldn't change anything. And like I said, it's even like me, I left school with no qualifications, none.
Yeah.
You don't need paper, you don't need qualifications, you need life experience.
Yeah.
You need to do it, learn from it. And like I said, like for me, I don't look at CVs.
Yes.
I don't look at CVs. It's the person, the training, can you do it? Stuff like that. Go out and just enjoy your life. Like I said, I've had friends that have passed away before their time. So stuff like that I generally don't take serious. And it's probably why a lot of people do like working for me. A lot of people that do meet me probably say I'm always a glass half full, never a glass half empty, because just be positive.
Yeah. No, you mean
So
there is, I mean, people who don't make mistakes haven't achieved anything.
no, honestly, that's how. Like, anytime I've been asked that, like, because like my school, I went back to my school once where one of my teachers says, "You'll never be anything." I'm like, that's fine. I went, you didn't teach me what I needed to be taught. And now I go back before the exams, and what I'll say to the students is, don't stress over this, because I've got the house, I've got the car, I've got the business, and guess what? I've not got a qualification. So no, it's make your mistakes, because you learn from them. And like even like my apprentices and my guys, like, be honest as well. Like, if my guys making mistakes, if they're honest with me and they tell me, I can manage the situation.
Yes.
So nobody means to make a mistake. So
Yeah.
go and make them. Go make your mistakes and learn from them.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, Kevin, it's been a real pleasure have you join us at the Business Spotlight
Thank you.
today, and for sharing us your experience and wisdom with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.